Alright guys, I'm back with my review of this week's WWE Monday Night Raw for July 29th, 2013. I'm going to do what I did over the weekend for Dexter and Total Divas, where I just watch the show and during commercials just give my thoughts on what happened. So I just finished watching the opening segment. Vince McMahon was awesome as usual here. So Vince and Brad Maddox come out, and Vince says that Brad Maddox is calling Daniel Bryan a troll, and it's a great way to describe Daniel Bryan because he looks like a troll. He's this hideous creature, and he's a dwarf. So Daniel Bryan comes out, and Vince tells Maddox to leave. He says, "I got this." And he says that John Cena lied to Daniel Bryan. He doesn't really respect him. He just thinks he's an easy opponent. And he says that Daniel Bryan can't beat Cena because he doesn't have ruthless aggression. And Cena doesn't have it anymore, so he actually wants Cena to lose. But that doesn't mean he wants Daniel Bryan to become champion. The only way Vince McMahon wins at SummerSlam is if they both collide and spontaneously combust. So that was an awesome line there. Daniel Bryan stands up to Vince McMahon. He says that you always tell me what you really think, but it doesn't matter what you think. It matters what they think. And I think the people want a new champion. And everybody starts doing the yes chant, and Vince is just watching all of this happen. So that's pretty much what happened so far. So then we get the Usos and Mark Henry versus The Shield. And I was just wondering something. Why is it okay to look out of shape if you're Samoan? Like, you have the Usos, you have Umaga, you got Samoa Joe. Rikishi. It's like it's okay to look out of shape as long as you're Samoan. It just seems kind of weird to me. And am I the only one who finds it weird that the Wyatt family is tweeting when they're supposed to be this crazy cult group that lives at a compound out in the middle of nowhere, yet they have Twitter? So that was kind of strange. But anyways, this match was okay. I thought the Shield kind of looked weak. One of the Usos goes for the splash. Ambrose gets the knees up, hits his DDT move for the win. And then Mark Henry attacks all three members of the Shield and basically throws them out of the ring, and they have to retreat. So they won the match, but they got dominated pretty hard during the match, and then they were forced to retreat at the end. So I didn't really care for the way they made the Shield look here. It seemed like a little too much for me, especially when they're selling for guys like the Usos. And I know they're really trying to push the Usos, probably because of that Total Divas show. But it's just the Shield dominated everybody. You're talking Cena, Orton, Sheamus, and now they're selling for the Usos. So I don't really understand that. But then we get Ryback backstage. And there's some jabronis at catering. And he goes up to one guy and says, "What did you say to me?" The guy didn't say anything. And he just grabs food. And he's like, "Are you hungry? Is this what you're here for?" And just slaps this guy 3 times. The guy looked like he was about to cry. And then Ryback just puts him through a table. So I thought this was pretty damn awesome. Brad Maddox is backstage. Kane comes up to him. He asks him where the Wyatt family is. Maddox says they're not here tonight, but you can send them a message by destroying Daniel Bryan. We get RVD versus Fandango. It was alright, but RVD goes for the frog splash, and Fandango just leaves, loses by countout, and then he says his name, it's Fandango. So I didn't really care much for that. It was nothing. Then we see AJ talking to Big E backstage. She asks him, "Why do you always let Caitlyn spear me? Why don't you do anything?" And then she starts laughing and says, "It's because you like me. You like what I do in the ring." This didn't make any sense, but with the AJ promos, it's kind of part of her character not to make sense. So I was fine with that. And apparently WWE's new pay-per-view is Battleground this October. So they announced that, but that's pretty much it so far. Alright, so we get AJ versus Caitlyn. AJ was calling pretty much everything in this match, but there's no surprise there. Caitlyn's still pretty green. But Caitlyn beats her with the spear, so it's a bad night for AJ. Big E gets in the ring to console her, I guess. It would make more sense if Big E was letting Caitlyn spear AJ because he likes Caitlyn, So I think they'll probably do something with that. But Dolph comes out and says he wants a match with Big E right now. So they have a match. Big E pretty much dominates Dolph the entire time. But eventually Dolph uses his cat-like reflexes to throw Big E to the outside. And AJ runs in and attacks Dolph, so Big E gets disqualified. He's yelling at AJ, he's pissed off, and Dolph runs in and hits the zigzag on Big E. So that was pretty much it. I didn't really care much for the match. Big E kept yelling, "Your time is up, it's my show now," over and over again. Then we see Daniel Bryan and Cena backstage, and Daniel Bryan asks Cena if it's true what Mr. McMahon said, and Cena says, "You're asking me if Mr. McMahon was telling the truth, the guy who preys in the psyche of the fans to sell tickets?" And Daniel Bryan says, "Well, whether he's good or bad, he's always been honest with me." And Cena says, "So you calling me a liar?" And that was it. So, alright, so I just watched Christian versus Del Rio. I thought these guys had an okay match here. Del Rio works the arm. Christian goes for the kill switch, but Del Rio counters with the arm breaker. However, when he takes Christian down, Christian rolls him up, gets the win. And I know Del Rio is supposed to pick his SummerSlam opponent on SmackDown this week, and I kind of thought they were going to do Del Rio versus RVD, but I'm wondering now if it's going to be Del Rio versus Christian and Fandango versus RVD. But I guess we have to wait till SmackDown for that. Then they showed this awesome video of Damian Sandow almost drowning in the Gulf of Mexico from SmackDown with this classical music playing. I thought it was great. We get Cody versus Wade Barrett. Didn't really care much about this match. It wasn't anything special. Barrett goes for the wasteland. Cody counters with a crossroads, gets the win. Damian Sandow comes out and says, "Damn you, Cody." And he says that he traveled the world educating the unwashed masses. He won Money in the Bank, and Cody Rhodes grew a mustache. And he says that he comes from a family of clowns and carny folk are beneath him. Great promo here. And then he just walks away. So probably going to do Sandow versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam also. And I'm wondering if they're going to address this briefcase situation on SmackDown, or if they're just going to forget about it for a while till people forgot he won, and then somehow he found the case, or found it and didn't tell anyone. So when he cashes in, it's going to be a big surprise. I don't know, but yeah, the match was alright, I guess, with Cody versus Barrett. It didn't seem like anybody really cared about it. I didn't care about it, so. So we just got Daniel Bryan versus Kane. Both guys worked really hard in this match. Kane goes for the choke slam, but Daniel Bryan counters, turns into a small package, gets the win. Afterwards, Kane is pissed off. He choke slams Daniel Bryan, which is a heel move here. So, not sure if he's going to join the Wyatt family or what. But he gets ready to set off his pyro, and the Wyatt family comes out. So the lights come on, and you got Luke Harper and Eric Rowan in the ring, and Kane just goes straight for Bray Wyatt. He runs out of the ring, grabs him by the throat, and the family members rush out to aid Bray Wyatt. They beat down Kane, they get him back in the ring. Brody Lee takes him down with a big boot. And then Bray Wyatt comes in and hits the Sister Abigail on Kane. And he says Kane is no demon, and he needs to be careful who he says these things to, because you never know who's listening. And then follow the buzzards. At first, when Bray Wyatt had him, I thought he was going to take Kane's mask off or something. But I guess they can't really do that because of the whole wig situation. But yeah, I have no idea if Kane's going to join him, or if he's just going to go crazy because of them and then try his best to fight against them and eventually join. I have no idea where they're going with this, but I thought this was a pretty awesome segment, and I really liked the way when the lights came on, Kane just went straight for Bray Wyatt. He's got to go after the leader. I thought that was really cool. I like the whole Bray Wyatt character, because a lot of people are like, oh, when's Bray Wyatt going to wrestle? Why does he just watch? Well, he's supposed to be like this crazy cult leader, so it makes sense. I mean, it's like he's supposed to be like Charles Manson, kind of, I guess. And when all those Charles Manson murders took place, Charles Manson wasn't there. He had other people do it for him. And that's what Bray Wyatt's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the guy who gets other people to do his dirty work for him. So I thought this was really cool that Kane went straight for him. We get Brie Bella versus Natalya. And Brie Bella, this poor girl, has lost so much weight she can't even keep her tights up. It looks really unhealthy to me. But Nikki Bella comes out with a duck call because they called Natalya a ugly duckling earlier in the show, or earlier today, and she starts saying, "Quack quack, Natalya, quack quack." It was really stupid, and Brie uses this opportunity to roll up Natalya for the win. So yeah, this was just dumb. So it's Curtis Axel versus R-Truth. CM Punk runs down, pulls Axel out of the ring, and then he sees Heyman. So he goes after Heyman, and Heyman's trying to escape through the crowd, and Axel fights CM Punk off long enough for Heyman to escape. Then backstage, Triple H asks Vince if he's done pulling Maddox's strings. And Vince says, maybe I'm using reverse psychology on Daniel Bryan. Maybe deep down I want him to win. And then he starts laughing. He can't say it with a straight face. And he says, I just want someone who can beat John Cena. Someone like you, Triple H, but maybe 20, 23 years younger. So this was really funny stuff. And then Stephanie comes up and says, maybe if we give Daniel Bryan a corporate makeover. So Vince says, good luck with that one. Cena versus Ryback in a tables match. It's hard for me to say that this was a good match. They tried to do some new stuff here. Ryback grabs the table, charges Cena, breaks it across the ring post. But there was also some goofy stuff, like when Cena throws the table to the outside and Ryback crawls under the ring and then runs around and spears Cena. There was just a few goofy moments. They have a stare down with both the guys holding the steel steps, and they throw them and they clash. It was okay, but yeah, it wasn't anything spectacular. It lasted a little too long, I thought. But Cena puts Ryback through a table with the AA. Daniel Bryan runs out. He acts like he's going to hand Cena the title. Then he takes it back and says it's going to be mine. And then Cena snatches the title and holds it up. And that was pretty much the show there. So show overall, I have to say, was pretty average this week. Nothing really important happened. And it's probably because it was a taped show. So yeah, I have to just say that Raw was pretty average this week. But hopefully it's better next week. They're going to have the build to SummerSlam continuing. You got Brock Lesnar. So, I mean, I think I looked it up on Wikipedia, and it's like 2 matches announced so far. Just Cena, Daniel Bryan, Lesnar versus CM Punk, and that's really it. And I think the show is like 2 weeks away, so they really got to start building some stuff up for this. But anyways, that's my review of Raw this week. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave your thoughts on this week's show in the comments, and thanks for watching.